Well, the club of Arsenal is going to be hosted by Manchester United tomorrow at the Old Trafford Stadium, a stadium that capacitates close to 75,000 people. We'll see the Premier League opener for Arsenal versus Manchester United. Remember, the Premier League opened up yesterday as Liverpool went ahead to obviously beat the side known as Bournemouth by 4-2. Remember, it reached an extent when it's 2-2, but they had Chiesa score, all gave them the lead again, and then Mohamed Salah went ahead to open up his account once again in this so-called Premier League season of 2025-2026, a season that very many people are really highly anticipative of here onto the Rokani Media Football. Smash like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rokani David is my name, and Arsenal comes in here to obviously put in a very huge shift in there for you. Now, Arsenal comes into this game of football when they're really having Gabriel Jesus out. You understand? Who else? Which other player is really injured for the club of Arsenal? Because most of the players of Arsenal are really available, as you really understand. And the manager yesterday went ahead to obviously hold a press conference, and I think I'm obviously going to be really delving deep into that later after this match preview video, because it couldn't really wait. When you look at Arsenal, the team news says that I think it's only Gabriel Jesus who is really out for the club of Arsenal. That is it. The rest of the players are variable and they're ready to go. I think Leandro Trossard is a little bit doubtful in there, but I think the rest of the players are really there, you know. So we wait and see how that pans out. But Kai Havertz is there, you know, and almost every player is really there. Arteta is also optimistic that Leandro Trossard's growing concern will settle down in time for Sunday, you know. So the only player that is really out is Gabriel Jesus. The rest of the players are readily available for the club of Arsenal. When you go to Man United, I think it's Lisandro Martinez who is really out, right? There is a player known as Mazarawi. He's also having a hamstring injury. Rasmus Højlund might not feature into that beautiful game of football because Manchester United has put him up for sale, and as he was really planning to go to a team known as AC Milan, Fulham went ahead obviously registered a huge interest in him, and his agent now has to make a decision on where the player has to go. So those are the players that we don't expect to be part of the team of Arsenal and Man United. Now, after that, we obviously head into the probable starting 11 for the club of Arsenal, as they obviously coming through to feature at Old Trafford. And the last time they played there, I think they went ahead to give United a beating in there for you. So I tell you, it's not an easy tie for Man United. In goal, however much there is Kepa Arrizabalaga, good goalkeeper, David Raya is the first choice goalkeeper for the club of Arsenal in there. And he's obviously going to be in between the stitches for the club of Arsenal. Right back, however much Benjamin White has played the lion's share of the preseason, and Julian Timber has been really having problems with his I think, is it the hamstring? He returned back, and you saw to it that the manager gave him some minutes in the game of Villarreal, and in the game of Athletic Club, he played most of the minutes of the full 90. You understand? That means I see him played as the right back in here of this particular fixture. Left back, this is the most competitive position at the club of Arsenal. Jakub Kivio, Zinchenko, Karafiori, Lewis Kelly, you know, all those are really chasing in for that position. And for me, I see Lewis Kelly obviously going ahead to obviously start. Though I have really thought that maybe the manager will obviously say, let me get Karafiori in, and then Lewis Kelly will come in as a plan B to obviously create more havoc into that final third for the club of Man United, because he's good going forward, though he balances the two very well, you know. But with United having a likes of Mbeumo and Amadi Diallo, you know, that looks to be the most huge line that United is obviously going to be using to attack the side of of Arsenal, and I think the manager will be like, Lewis Kelly is the best option in there because he has played against Amadi Diallo the previous times that United has gone ahead to play against Arsenal. Left-sided centre-back, I think it's Gabriel Magalhaes. The manager has always tried out Carafiori there and a player known as Jakub Kivio, but I think Gabriel Magalhaes stands out in a fixture like this because you want to start on a high. That is it. Right-sided centre-back, I see a William Saliba coming in through to play into that position in there as you see him there. So that is the back four for the club of Arsenal as they obviously prepare to tussle it out with a club known as Manchester United. Then let's go to what we call the CDM area. Arsenal play system of 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, but whatever system comes in through, the same players will be used to obviously fit into this beautiful system that the manager is going to obviously deploy. Now, let's obviously get into the CDM area. Nogard or Zubimendi. I think Zubimendi will obviously play into that CDM area for the club of Arsenal. And you watch the space for this guy. You watch this guy out. That's what I can really tell you. Watch him out, watch him out because he's a special gem and he's that kind of player that you always have high anticipations for to come in through and obviously do the needful in there. So that is Zinchenko into that midfield alongside who? Alongside Declan Rice into the box-to-box role and the other player known as Martin Odegaard. You understand? So those are the three midfielders that we believe Arsenal obviously going to be playing with. If it's a 4-3-3, that's how they obviously line up. It's a 4-2-3-1, obviously it will be Declan Rice and Zubimendi in the double pivot as Martin Odegaard plays as a central attacking midfielder into that system that Arteta has newly introduced. By the way, for the first two seasons of Mikel Arteta at Arsenal, he used to play a 4-2-3-1. Then he shifted to a 4-3-3 for the previous seasons. Now, the manager has gone ahead to get back to a 4-2-3-1, and I think it's the courtesy of Gabriel Heinze because he knows to it that the coming in of Victor Gyokeres will need a Martin Odegaard to play in a more advanced position of a central attacking midfielder, playing next to the centre forward, and Declan Rice and Zubimendi doing the donkey work and obviously connecting the midfield to the attack in there. So that's how I anticipate the back three will obviously look like. Then let's go to the right forward, Madueke or Saka. Obviously, no question, it will be Bukayo Saka playing as a right forward into this particular fixture. Then we go to the left forward with Leandro Trossard, not even clear to play this beautiful game of football. I think Martinelli again finds himself in that position, though you might see the manager deploying Madueke in there for you because we've gone ahead to see it that Madueke went ahead obviously put in very good balls for the player of Arsenal known as Gyokeres when he came on when they're playing against a team called Athletic Club. That is it. Now, who is expected to lead the line? Kai Havertz or Victor Gyokeres? Gyokeres will obviously lead the line. So that is Victor Gyokeres for you, and that is the 4-3-3 system for the club of Arsenal, and that's how we anticipate the club of Arsenal to line up tomorrow as they are taking on the club of Manchester United at Old Trafford. You can as well let me know who do you want in and who do you want out of that starting 11, because it's a probable one and I don't know what your thoughts are about it into the mix. So as it stands, there are some stats that you guys really need to know about as far as this particular game of football is really concerned. And before I really get into what we call my prediction, I'll obviously have to let you know that Man United have lost just 2 of their last 18 Premier League home games against Arsenal. 10 wins, 6 draws, though both defeats have been with Mikel Arteta in charge of the Gunners. 1-0 both in November 2020 and May 2024. So you've gone ahead to say to it that the club of Manchester United lost last season, 1-0 to the club of Arsenal in there at Old Trafford. Then secondly, Arsenal have scored in each of their last 11 Premier League away games against Man United 14 goals, having only managed to score in 10 of their first 22 visits to Old Trafford in the competition, 11 goals. So Arsenal, every time they've gone ahead, obviously come through at Old Trafford, they've gone ahead, obviously, at least score a goal in their last 11 away games, meaning that you have to really expect a goal from Arsenal, that is tomorrow, unless otherwise. But stats show to it that Arsenal find it easy to obviously score against Manchester United at home. Thirdly, Manchester United have won 99 of their 243 meetings with Arsenal in all competitions. 55 draws and 89 losses. They've only beaten Aston Villa 107 more often, while they would be the first ever team to beat the Gunners 100 times. Now, if Man United happens to obviously go ahead and really beat Arsenal, they would have gone ahead to beat Arsenal for the 100th time, and it will be the first team to obviously beat Arsenal for a century times. You understand? Fourthly, this is just the second time in English League football Manchester United are hosting Arsenal in their first game of the season, previously beating the Gunners 4-1 in 1989 to 1990. Now, second time, United is opening up the Premier League with Arsenal at Old Trafford, and the first time it happened, United went ahead to thrash the side of Arsenal 4-1. Will history happen again at Old Trafford to see United giving Arsenal a beating like that? We wait and see how things really pan out into the mix. Now, 5, lastly, Man United are beginning a Premier League campaign with a home game for the 9th successful season, the longest run of any side in English top flight history. That is it. Even last season, by the way, United went ahead to open up its fixture at Old Trafford, and they beat Fulham by 1-0 that was scored by Joshua Zirkzee in there. So I look at this game, and I'm looking at the battles that are obviously going to be into this game of football. When you look at Arsenal, obviously, I think Lewis Kelly will be facing Mbeumo. Then Julian Timber will be facing Cunha. Gabriel Magalhaes and Saliba will be facing Benjamin Sesko. The midfield three of Rice, Odegaard, and Zubimendi, they will be facing Manuel Ugarte, Bruno Fernandes, and a player called Kobe Mainoo for me. Then, who else? For the club of Man United, obviously, Patrick Dog will be facing Bukayo Saka. I don't know who will win the race or the battle. Then, Amadi Diallo will be facing it off with... Martinelli. Then we'll be having another player called Gyokeres facing it off with Matthias de Ligt, Len Hioro, and Luke Shaw. Those are the battles that you highly anticipate into this beautiful game of football that is going to be played at Old Trafford. Now, this is where most of you really want to hear my say. Now, Arsenal is one of the teams that, by the way, it's the strongest team in the Premier League. Why? It's the team that has been competing for the Premier League for the last 3 seasons, and its team is really still intact. Their squad is still intact. You understand? However much Pat has gone ahead to leave, we've gone ahead to see Declan Rice play into that CDM area, and Arsenal have gone ahead to thrive. You understand? So it's not a big deal, and they've gone ahead obviously to replace those players very, very well. So we are here to let you know that the club of Arsenal is really the strongest team in the league. And they are facing a team of Man United that is really trying to obviously go through transition. They've gone ahead to bring in players. Mbeumo hasn't gone ahead to settle into the team. Benjamin Sesko hasn't even played a minute with Man United during the preseason. So I can't really wait to see how the club of Man United will obviously look. But 60% chances Arsenal will win this game of football, and 40% chances Man United to win, because I know what it really comes up. I know what this game brings in there. It brings really nervousness and so on and so forth. You understand? So the club of Arsenal will obviously do the needful. And I think the best United will get out of this game for me is a draw, because Arsenal for the previous 2-3 seasons have gone here to come to Old Trafford, and they haven't obviously been having a man like Victor Gyokeres. You understand? Secondly, they haven't gone ahead to come to Old Trafford with the bench that they're really having. I remember the day when Erik ten Hag beat them 3-1, they are getting on Nketiah, Fabio Vieira, Marquinhos, they were getting on Emily Smith-Rowe, Reece Nelson. Those are the substitutes that Mikel Arteta had at his disposal. But when you look at the team that I've gone ahead obviously put out there, Arsenal will be having the following players on the bench. You know, Madueke, Kai Havertz, you get? Nogard, Merino, Ben White, Carafiori, you understand? Who else? So they'll be having a much more stronger bench than they've always gone ahead to have when they come to Old Trafford. So that's why I tell you, I give Arsenal my win, and I see United. At 60%, I'm giving Arsenal a win, and I see United getting a draw if they can obviously fight hard, because the team is not yet intact. But all I know, it can go even on the side of Man United to 40%, because United players might obviously come up and obviously fight hard to see to it that everything really goes into their way. Thank you guys for watching it through. Rokani David is my name. I don't know what your thoughts are about this probable starting 11, but feel free to go into the comment section and let me know what your thoughts are about my prediction. I give Arsenal a win. You know, 60% is an Arsenal win, and let me do this. 60% Arsenal win, you know, 10% a United win, and 20% a draw. That's how I'm going to hate to do it. 60% Arsenal win, 20% United drawing with Arsenal, 20%, all right, United win. I'm out. Bye-bye.